Hey, welcome back everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Muse Jester. My name is Junior. This just arrived today, or actually yesterday. This is from Hasbro's Transformers Collaborative G.I.Joe Autobot Kup slash Triple T, which comes with Sergeant Slaughter and Leatherneck. So here's the front of the box. Here it is. Here's the back. Here's the side. And here's the top, and there's the back. So I wasn't initially I wasn't enthusiastic about this line, but I'm kind of getting around it because getting more excited. I don't know if it's just rumor or if it's really gonna happen where they're talking about Skyfire as a possible Titan-sized um, vehicle for this one, and we're all kind of hoping it's the Sky Striker Skyfire combination. But I wasn't gonna get this as a pre-order because I didn't want to pay full price for it. This was $99 or $89. I can't remember which of of it, but that's how it looks out of the box, and you can see these two out, and then there's the two figures just interestingly packaged safely like that. Then the instructions. Oh, and be careful because they left another one of these Easter eggs over here. So let me take it out completely and we'll assemble it and look at stuff. All right, so here's our first look at Kup slash Triple T. I'm gonna have to say, I just retransformed the other collaboratives, and I'm gonna have to say this guy has got to be the best out of all four. I'm really hoping that this particular line is going towards the direction where the developers or the people who are behind this line have finally decided to take this line seriously, because I feel like the amount of engineering, the work that they've done on this one has, from Megatron to Bumblebee to Soundwave, I feel like they've come into their own. Like, they've put in a lot of funding and development, and to figure out how it works, how it will look on both versions, and the engineering, and how it feels as well. It feels solid out of all four, and you feel those ratchets over here. Solid connection. Ratchet on the knees. Ratchet on the legs. Here's a shot of the leg. Even though it's kind of hollow, it's not really hollow because it's showing off the engineering of the threads. So, and then notice the hands, not at all hollow as well. We're gonna look at the side. Even though the backpack, we're still having that backpack issue of being big, you have to remember this is a transformable robot into a G.I. Joe vehicle mode. It still functions. It's backpack heavy, but there's no hollowness in the side or anything like that. Feels complete. Now I'm gonna leave this in this unflattering pose, because let's look at Megatron, the very first of all of them, right? So does it have ratchets? Nothing forward, nothing backwards. Maybe one there in the thigh region, but look at how big the detents are on this one. Nothing on the knees, right? And then when you open this up, you have this whole cavity where it's just empty. These were the things that we were complaining about with Megatron. I didn't really mind the backpack with Megatron over here because he still serves a purpose for the bucket over here that Baroness sits on. This one I do kind of mind because it's kind of dangerous. So that's where we first came from with Megatron. And this as really the one that triggered the whole line, Megatron. The disappointment, and also I want to say the plastic quality. Also, and also I want to point it out, the hollowness of that thigh as well. Look at how thin that plastic is. This was a lot of the issues that was being brought up by reviewers, and a lot of them really dropped off this line, and I did as well too. I only picked it up, as I said before, was because it was on sale for half off. Now compare that to the thickness of that plastic that's going on with this one. Definitely much thicker plastic, much more higher quality than Kup. And then from Megatron we went into Bumblebee, and it definitely felt like the direction of the line was going backwards. So from Megatron to Bumblebee, there really isn't any incentive to get into this line, and I didn't. I think I got this at maybe 25% off, so still not full price. I was not, definitely was not willing to pay full price for this line. Look at all this kibble. You can't even, Bumblebee's supposed to be yellow. Okay, granted it's green because they're still concentrating on the G.I. Joe side rather than the Transformer side. So I'll give them that. But look at how these wheels look. They're so awful. And then the backpack is like, come on, that's so... there really wasn't much of an improvement from Megatron to Bumblebee. You still have the hollowness. Of course, this is part of the I think the side well or something like that. But the roll cage, you can remove it if you want to lessen the kibbleness of this whole thing. Again, no ratchets, nothing. It's all friction, and this is really loose as a figure. Now Soundwave, I really like the look. I think that this one, they, after Bumblebee, they really changed direction, I think. Because from Bumblebee to Soundwave, you have a massive shift of quality. You can see that pretty clearly. You still have the massive tires over here, but they're not as massive compared to the figure, unlike with Bumblebee. Still no ratchets, nothing. Maybe for the thigh, a little bit on the legs. So that's a little bit better. Um, the hollowness has disappeared. Definitely not as hollow as Megatron. You still have it here on the arms, but even the mainline Transformers have these hollowness, but I don't seem to mind that as much because almost the entire figure is not hollow or filled in. This part, yeah, maybe is still there, and this one I don't mind because of course that's the whole um, seat and everything. And the backpack, as I said, backpacks I don't really mind as long as they serve a purpose. The Bumblebee thing with the roll cage, that didn't really look very good at all. So it's still very Ghibli because of all these side armors and the tires and everything. But this one, I almost wanted to buy this full price, but I kept on waiting because I felt like I'm still not into this line. I still am not. The really, to be honest, the thing that triggered this whole thing for me again is the announcement of the um, Jetfire slash possible Titan size figure, and like I said, there's no rumor, nothing at all. We just know the name is Jetfire, but we don't know if it's going to be Skyfire slash Jetfire. We still don't know that, and I'm not, I'm kind of hoping, but I can't really tell. But on the promise of Skyfire, I went ahead and pre-ordered. So this is my first Transformers Collaborative G.I.Joe piece that I actually pre-ordered. And now that I have this online, now man, the quality from here to Soundwave, I'm telling you guys, it just jumped again by a lot. I showed you guys the nice ratchets. Still loose, it's still friction over here, but look at how much the ratchet that is, and a lot the D10s on this one, definitely the ratchet. Look, it's not, Megatron only had like 1 2 3 and it's done. Here a lot more. The knees much more stronger. That's it. That's the waffle. That's the only thing in that's coming now. Is it because of the design that's causing that? I don't know. I really hope that the future collaboratives are going to be as the same kind of quality as this cup. I'm going to tell you guys, this is awesome. For the price of $99 or $89, I can't remember. But you have to remember, we're also getting the 2 figures. Now, I've said before repeatedly, I'm not really into O-rings. So, and the 1/18 scale, I'm still kind of iffy because the only reason I'm getting this is because it's collaborative between Transformers and G.I. Joe, something I've never dreamed of. So again, I'm going back to the price. I keep jumping around. I tend to do that. $99, but with 2 figures. Let's be very, very giving on this one and say each figure is $15. They're not. What is the reaction Super 7 going for now? $20 or something like that, which is ridiculous. But let's put this at $15, where I think the prices should be for 3.75. You know what? I'm going to look ahead and see exactly how much is a Super 7 3.75 figure is. Yeah, as I suspected, it's $19. Now, I think that Super 7 O-ring should be 15, and that's why I'm pricing this as 15. It's obviously it's $20 is what they're pricing it. But $20, you're kidding me? So that's 20, that's 40. Subtract that out of the 99s. So they'll tell me that this guy is 60. That's a steal. I think that's a good price. Look at how much a Transformers whatever scale that's about this size. That's like $90 for Optimus Prime of this size. And no, I'm not talking about the complexity of the engineering and everything. I'm just talking about like the size fitting. How much was Swoop that I just got actually? So Swoop, which is around this size, well, no, Swoop is probably a little bit smaller, but I still think this is a lot more complex than Swoop. It's $55. So that's actually pretty good that this is $60, because we're getting a Transformers and a G.I. Joe vehicle, you know. So I think that's a great price. Yeah, it's let me go ahead and transform these guys. And by the way, that's how he stands. He's a little bit shorter than Soundwave, a little bit shorter than Megatron. I think that's a good size. And then Bumblebee's small size. Bumblebee is just like the worst of all this bunch. I can forgive Megatron because he still looks pretty cool, even though he's got a lot of empty spaces. But Bumblebee just looks awful, right? Let me go and transform this guy into vehicle mode. I'm sorry, guys, I don't show transformations. I'm really bad at those. I really recommend MGO316 or TM Reviews. MGO316 is my favorite because he does a review and then he does a separate video of transformations from both modes. So let me go. Unfortunately, MGO doesn't have this guy yet up, so I'm gonna use somebody else. And let me transform him really quick, and I'll be right back. So there he is. There's Triple T, no longer Kup. And I went ahead and broke out the G.I. Joes out of their packaging so I can kind of display them a little bit. Honestly, dudes, if you can tell me that there's an actual Transformers over there, I'd be very, very surprised. Because it looks just like a Triple T. There's absolutely nothing in this part where it will tell you that it's a Transformer. I mean, like, that's the only thing. I love that they actually have the USA flag over there. Nice and colorful. In the back, then yeah, you'll definitely see some stuff like that. But why would you display a vehicle from the bottom anyway, right? So all that matters is this. And even from the back, that's pretty much it you're gonna see. That will break the illusion. But it's like, it's basically a Triple T, you know. And I think if you had the original Triple T, you would even probably see that this is more stuff underneath there rather than just, it'll just be hollow on the old original stuff. But yeah, man, it's amazing how this is completely, I think, successful in every part of the way. And here's the rest of the guys that I transformed. Like I said, they seem to concentrate on the G.I. Joe side rather than on the Transformer side in the previous time. This is the more successful Thunder something, I can't remember. But I had the Zarana hanging out on the side. She's more of a badass than Zartan anyway. So yeah, I didn't realize this was smaller. And then of course Megatron is the worst of the bunch because he is the first of the bunch, because even though you can still see bits and pieces of Megatron peeking out on the side, you don't need to turn him off like that one. Actually, that's cleaner, but you can see parts of Megatron peeking out of the vehicle. But he is the first. Every other ones were successful enough that you don't see it. And here's Bumblebee. Again, he's the second one, so you do see parts of the Transformers coming out of the vehicle. Not really as bad as Megatron's was, but by the time they went over to Soundwave and in this machine, you don't see any at all. All you see is the vehicle. You might see some Decepticon logo, and actually you don't even see a Decepticon logo on this one. But yeah, and then of course by the time it gets here, it's just a completely G.I. Joe vehicle, which I kind of want to see. I don't really want to see parts of the Transformers. Once they're in vehicle mode, it's just like a completely transformed robot in disguise, the way it should be. So yeah, I really like where this is headed. what they're doing. Very, very successful, I think, in the last version, which is the Triple T Cup, and all that stuff. So, like I said, even though I don't collect this one, and having handled these, I mean, like, they're exactly as I remember them. You know, it's like, but in its day and time, it was a good toy. But we've moved past this, or I've moved past this. The colors are really, really good, though. They're very, very sharp. But I just really prefer these. They're more anatomically correct. It's, I think the head is too big on these. Just have a little bit more articulation range for me, and I really don't want to go back to what this is. But it's pure nostalgia. I can see where the nostalgia is, because this is exactly as I remember them as they were before. There's absolutely no change. I think the only change is probably the colors that they've used, and the fact that they went ahead and painted the metal joints. But other than that, it's just exactly the way it was as they were back. How many years ago? 40 years ago. So yeah, I can see why people like them. There's a lot of nostalgic memory attached to it, but I just can't look at that. I just prefer these more than those. So anyway, that's why I have him in my hiss, and we'll see what's going on. So in terms of pricing and value, so we broke down that the two figures, I'm being very kind, at 15 and 15. Well, it's supposed to be 20 and 20. So the two figures are 40, and then the vehicles left up to about maybe $59 or $60 if it was $100 item. I can't remember how much I paid for it. But I've also said, for me personally, that the figures, they don't really do much for me, because I'm not here for the nostalgic kick. And I do prefer the 25th style anniversary, where it's a little bit more articulation and a little bit more detailed. But I just, and it is bigger though. But for display options, they kind of still work, because I'm not going to be playing with the figures. For the display option, they're kind of like the accessories once it comes to the vehicle. So kind of nice to display them like that. But the main kick for me, the main value that I'm getting from, is the Transformer slash vehicle. Now this is kind of a unique thing for me, because I've said before that I do tend to like to find a scale or something where I can do a world building and expand the storyline. And this is something that we kind of wanted to do when we were kids, to combine the Transformers and the G.I.Joe, because they were on at the same time. And we tend to try to imagine them being the same universe. But I don't think I even thought, or the thought crossed my mind, to combine both, where a Transformer has infiltrated the G.I. Joe or the Cobra, and incorporated themselves into that world. And the idea of that is so unique for me, and the fact that they accomplished it in such a good manner. That's why Megatron Hiss was such an interesting concept, and they've progressed to the point where they've done a really good job. For that concept alone, and the success that they've done, I believe the value is very high for me in terms of pricing. Is the value equal to the $100 price tag, because I'm not considering the price of the figure? And I'm going to say yes. It's still higher, the value that I'm receiving from this one, for the price. Yeah, because I'm now up to the point from looking for a deal for the pricing, that basically went to Megatron was 50% that I got off the actual price. Bumblebee was 25% that I got off the actual price. The Soundwave, I was seriously considering getting it off on eBay for $60 without the figures, and I kind of felt like that was kind of a good deal. I was waiting for like 45 to 50 for just Soundwave alone, but not necessarily the figures, because I still want to get these and put them in the vehicle, and they do kind of fit. They're a little bit taller, as you can see, but they still kind of fit in that scale. You just need to bend the knee a little bit more. But this was the figure where I started saying, well, yeah, they've gone far enough, and they look good enough, that I can say maybe it's good enough for, like, this would be worth $100 for me, and then I would just like hunt down these, and these are like what, $25-$30 each. So what I'm saying is that for me, just for the vehicle alone, the price that I paid is good enough, and the promise that the line might expand more characters, more vehicles that would have the same quality as this one. Now, for people who are actually feeling the nostalgic kick, and including these figures that they represent, because they are true to the 1985 1980s toy, they're so true to it. I cannot deny that fact. So for those people who are even seeing the value of the figures alone, which means the price of the vehicle goes down from 90 to 60, then definitely this is a get, because then now you have the value that you're receiving from the nostalgic kick of the toy, and the value that you're receiving from the combination of the Transformers G.I. Joe in a successful venture. Then the value in this one compared to the price, I would say, would be around 15 to 16. Honestly, I might even go higher, because if Megatron had been as successfully done as Kup, in terms of no hollowness, you don't see a lot of the Transformers, and a lot more ratcheting and all that stuff, because even in Megatron mode, it looked really good. It's just really hollow, and kind of like plastic was all over the place, like it felt like it was bendy, lesser quality plastic. If the quality of Megatron had been to the quality of Kup, then I honestly, and Bumblebee wasn't so kibbly and ugly with the tires, honestly, this is the line where I would be very, very tempted to get multiples of. And when I'm talking about getting multiples of stuff, then that means the value is now up to 20, like double what I pay for. You know what I mean? Like, I would be happy to get multiples of this vehicle, or multiples of these vehicle, if the quality of the Transformer is equal to the quality that I'm getting from Kup. Because this, I'm so tempted to get multiples of this. It's just that I don't have any connection or any tie-ins to the Triple T. And it's a 1/18 scale. It's not a 1/12 scale, which is where my collection concentration is really into. But remember, I just made that video with the Batwing Batmobile, where it's really scaling well to this 3.75, which means this expands on now to the Batwing, to the Batmobile set, which is kind of interesting for me. So now you have basically Transformers, G.I. Joe, DC, and all that stuff. So I don't know, man. If only if, because that just looks cool like that. That's it for my review. I hope it continues the way it's headed, and I'm very, very hopeful of where the line is going on. And I think if the next one that's going to be showcased is the same as the Kup Triple T, I'll probably pre-order that as well. And I really do hope that they'll do the promise of Skyfire as a Titan size Jetfire. I really want a Jetfire. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. And I'll see you guys again soon on the next item. Goodbye.